is happening? What is up? We are here for another week of Research and Resource Wednesdays. Last week's was a little scattered. Let's try and get this one a little bit more organized. So we're going to go through the Christopher and Dana Reeves Foundation and Dana Reeves Foundation first. Then we are going to go through United Spinal, and then we're going to go through the Spinal Network. I am right now trying to utilize them for resources myself. I am having I need to find a new place, and I'm going to need help. I know I'm going to need help in different capacities. So let's start with Christopher and Dana Reeves Foundation. I just want to go through this real quick. So today's care, tomorrow's cure. They have all kinds of educational resources, rehabilitation, lifestyle, just everything that you need to know. This, spinal cord injury, this is a really, really good place to go. This Christopher and Dana Reeves, Superman, he had an accident on his horse, broke his neck, ended up being a quadriplegic. So him and his wife got together. They were having a hard time finding resources as well. So they were like, they're basically doing what I'm doing, but they've been doing it for a long time. Now everybody does things a little bit different. So it's good to go, like every resource place is just a little bit different. You know what I mean? So there's all kinds of things, parenting, all kinds of things here. Connect with the information specialist, which is something that I definitely need to do. So we're going to write that down. I want to connect with info specialist. So I've talked to United Spinal, and they sent me an email with resources. So I'll have to share that email with you. I also have been adding more resources to my link tree. So feel free to hit my link tree up. Let's see if I can drop that on here. I haven't done this yet. Let's see. It will have to be an overlay, I think. Anyway, we'll get there. So here, I'll post it in the comments. How about that? Oh, my link tree is at Diary of a Paraplegic for all platforms. Look to my link tree for plenty of resources. Okay, so there's that. Okay. After the information specialist. So this is my to-dos. Got my notepad out, so make sure you get your notepad out. It's definitely note-taking day. You can request a peer mentor, or you can also be a peer mentor. So I am personally a peer mentor. I have mentored about 3 different people so far. It's been pretty cool. I mean, none of them have really stuck like for a long time, but it's like a therapist or something. You don't always vibe with everybody. Plus, we're kind of skittish, it seems like. So, okay, so tomorrow's cure and their research priorities, developing spinal cord injury treatments, scientific advisory board. Ooh, that's pretty cool. We'll have to get into that later. And then our research history. Okay, so I want to write down, this is our to-do, and then this is going to be our stuff to research. Because right now I just want to get a broad overview of everything, right? Because I haven't even super delved into everything like I should. So you guys get to do it with me. Research stuff to research. Reeves Foundation. I can't write today. It's chicken scratch. And then our approach to research. Approach to research. Section. Okay, so there's that. And then there's partners and initiatives, and then there is community. So there's bloggers, which I should probably get on here. Neat. Because I am the Reeve community. How to let's check that out. Bloggers. Okay, so okay, cool. All right, so I want to see how I could write, because I want to write for them, Associated. Okay, so those are my 2 things so far. Let me know if there's anything, if you have any questions or there's anything that you see that you'd like to check out. Publications, reviews of the news, financials. Okay, so then we go over to get involved, right? So this is where I became an advocate. Okay, so I'm going to join the Regional Champions program. I'm excited about that one. I just got the stuff for that one. That's a step up. That's like your first responder. So you're going to be dealing with the government a lot, which I'm really excited about. And then, okay, so yeah, see, we're getting all of our funding back. I knew that would happen. Oh, ye of little faith. Y'all need to just have some faith in the Trump administration. I'm telling you. Senate appropriation. Yep. See, so right here is where everybody lost their faith. And then boom, we start July, September, January, February. Now every month we're starting to get something this year. Okay, so let's go back and we're going to hit, we're just going to go to everybody's calendar. Event calendar, here we go. Okay, so they're into golf. So these guys are super into golf. Everybody does a little bit something different. They do fun stuff, and then they also do like, fundraising things and more. So that's cool. Bank of America. Thanks, Bank of America. So let's see if we got anything. Ooh, cool. Ask Nurse Linda. Ooh, okay. Is that today? It is today. At noon? Oh, it's kind of, I wonder if it's Pacific. It is Pacific. No, we've got to do this. Okay, we're going to do it on the 24th. Let's register for it. Okay, hold on. I'm going to register real quick. Let me unshare my screen. Hold on 1 second. I encourage you to go to follow along while I'm doing this. And if you do see anything you want to sign up for, to do it right away so you don't forget. Okay, so what I said, so basically when you're doing a thing, you put in your first name, last name, email, your postal code, and then it'll ask you questions and comments. I am having extreme spasms. I would like to see if Nurse Linda has any advice for me, as it is causing me a lot of stress and pain. And so I'm going to register. Okay, so we are registered. And then I'm going to go over to my phone here, and I'm going to put it in my phone so I don't forget. June. That's another Wednesday. So we'll see. It's at noon. So we'll have to do our research Wednesday a little bit earlier. And then it'll be Zoom. Okay, and that is at noon. Okay. Oops. Edit. Return home, and this is going to be 1 day before and 2 hours before. Boom. Now we're set. Okay, so let me add you back here. Go back to resources, right? No, it's unit spinal. We're doing that next. Okay. Okay, so let's get back here. Back to the hotel. Community get involved. Event calendar. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's the healthcare professional series. Shoot, I wonder if I should do this real quick. Let's do it. Okay, you can just hear me on this one. I don't know if I'm allowed to show it, so. My messy. And my messy. Can always go like this. Let's check out our visual effects.
I wanted to mention that we had the Christopher and Dana Reeve Paralysis Foundation Summit at the beginning of the month, which was quite wonderful. Lots of things going on, and there's some new things I want to tell you about that I found out about at the summit. It's a nice place to go to find out what's going on. There's a lot of educational programs, um, just about adapting and getting along. But I think one of the main things about being there is being there with other people who have the same issues and interests that you do. So it's kind of nice. A lot of friendships are made. It travels around the country. Each year it's at some place different. So if you ever get the chance to go, I highly recommend that you go. There's a lot of there that are showing some products, and there's some new products that I'm going to talk about today. There's also organizations that are willing to help with different things. So Help Hope Live was there. That's an organization. I get a lot of questions about fundraising. I need equipment. I need a van. I need things to make my life more manageable. And yeah, people really do. And it's hard to get sometimes if your payer is not willing to pay for it, or if there's a medical need, sometimes it can be a challenge. And so Help Hope Live is just one of different organizations that help you do fundraising, and they will help you with like online sort of things. If you want to go like a GoFundMe page, a lot of people put up a GoFundMe page and then it never really catches on and takes off. But they have people that know how to do these things and what will catch people's eyes, and it's very, very helpful. And then they work with you. They also have a donation process where they'll fundraise on your behalf, and then they'll donate the item to you that you're wanting. So that doesn't mess up with if you have any kind of supplemental income that's coming in.
That goes with the information specialist.
It's all very carefully thought out. And I got this little pin from them. Look at how exciting. It's a paper clip. But it's so cute.
It is.
And they were wearing them like a little pin. And I said, oh boy, Linda wants that. Who knew jewelry would be involved? There you have it, my paper clip pin. It's in my favorite turquoise. So I really like that. But there were a lot of things that were going on there. It's really a lot of fun if you get the chance to go. Now, we have a couple of people that wrote in that they just happened to be at their 1 year mark of having spinal cord injury for 1 full year. So I want to say to you, congratulations. That's a big milestone that people make. People notice that when that comes around, which is very nice. And so they're always like, so what's going on? What's new? So there were some new things that were talked about at the summit. And of course, you've seen where can I put it?
Nah.
You've seen, well, I'm not going to be able to show you this paper, but Onward, the ARC-EX, I talk about that almost every week. It's the first system on the market. It is on the market now, but only in limited areas. So you have to go to a rehabilitation treatment center or to a clinic where they have this, but it will be nationwide, and they're rolling it out really fast.
See, I told you, dude, they're
waiting.
yeah. They're not messing around with
terms of
rehabilitating
rolling out a
people.
new device, they're rolling it out really fast. And so that's really great. So they need to educate all the healthcare professionals. They need to educate the therapists and nurses. They need to educate everybody on how to use this device and how to educate people to use it. Now, the ARC-EX was
ARC-EX.
recently
Onward ARC-EX.
promoted so that, and you'll see in the little chat box, there's a link to how to get the ARC-EX. And
Oh, shit.
you should check out their website, and they have a list that they keep. So if you want to put your name on their list, they will notify you when it's coming to their area. So it's a really neat thing because it's a strip that goes down your
All right, I opened it for us. We're going to check this out afterwards.
Device thing that controls. It's an electrical stimulator, and it goes down your back. Now they're using it in the cervical area to improve hand function and to be able to improve movement, but it also helps with breathing. It helps with heart function. It helps maintain blood pressure. They're working on another thing specific to blood pressure. Several companies are doing blood pressure control, for AD and that sort of thing. That still, the ARC-EX can also be placed in the lumbar area for bowel, bladder, sexual function in male, maybe some standing, maybe some walking. They've been experimenting with that. Walking, takes so much. People think, all I need to do is power up, right? Well, there's a lot of proprioception where your body is in space. You don't get that back. So walking is a bit of a challenge, but they're not authorized for that to do it yet. They're still
So they have
finishing
people,
up their
they're
studies
getting
for the
stuff for
lower
people to walk, and they're putting it in
If you get your
rehabilitation
name
centers
on
all
there,
across
they
the
also
United
have a
States
lot
now.
of
That's
clinical
fucking sick.
trials, and you might
Here's
be able to get
the-
into one of those, even if you don't live close where RX offices are. They work with different rehab centers around the country to do clinical trials. So that was something that was very cool that was going on. And then the big announcement is this Anuvo. I hope I'm saying their name correctly. Oh, look, I found the happy spot here. This is Anuvo, and they have like ARC-EX. It's a tape that goes on your back. Now, this one works a little differently than the ARC-EX, and there are about 9 other companies that are working on theirs. But Anuvo is out now. So which one should you get? Well, they work a little bit differently, and so you'd want to test and see. Now, not only do you have ARC-EX, the ARC-EX program, but you also have Anuvo, so you would have a choice now coming up, and pretty soon you'll have more choices coming up. So that was a very cool thing. And then there was a company there that was having an exoskeleton. Here, person with one.
So it looks like exoskeletons are going to be a huge thing that they're rolling them out for everyone. That's so sick, dude.
It's this great big thing, and now they have that down to just this little belt, leg things that you wear. So rather cool. Here's a person using it with and our friend of the Reeve Foundation, Leslie Barnes, did a lot of work to make sure that these exoskeletons would be funded. So Medicaid covers these, as well as some other funding companies. So important to know if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for. Now, those you can only use with somebody standing next to you, because
Medicaid will cover them.
Be a legal matter.
Medicaid will cover an exoskeleton, and you need somebody standing with you, so you have to be careful.
Wonderful for exercise. Makes people feel good. They're walking. They can get around a little bit easier, depending on what you're doing and what's going on. And then, of course, there's a company there. It's called Precision. And this is a new thing. It's not quite out yet. You gotta be here. But this is called Precision. I can't see around it. I'm not doing it. But this is one of those brain-computer interfaces. And the Reeve Foundation is also working very closely with some different companies about the brain-computer interface. Not on the market
This is what I
yet,
want. This
or
is what I want.
not too close to being on the market, but anyway, it's an opportunity. So if you go to the web page for the Reeve Foundation and look up research, there's all kinds of information about different things that are up and coming and very exciting kinds of things.
Oh my
So
gosh,
that's
you
good.
guys.
My friends also from the Kessler Foundation were there, and I want to highlight them because in particular, they have an online program that I'm sure a lot of you will be interested in. It's called Community Connect, SCI Caregiver Training Program. And it is a series of online videos that you can just sign up for. It's at Kessler Foundation, SCI Caregiver Training Program. And I have looked at that program. It's really kind of fabulous. If you have to hire somebody who's a caregiver, some people will say, before you can work for me, I want you to review this online training program. It has lots of information on how to do things. It gives you a lot of information about how to hire a caregiver. It has a session on, if you are a caregiver, think about different kinds of things. And I remember one part because I thought, if you work with somebody who's differently able, you get it right away. But if you've never worked with somebody differently able, things don't come quite so naturally. But there was this one part about, I asked my caregiver to have my glass of water on my tray so that I can get a drink whenever I need it. But the caregiver might put the glass of water on the tray. It might be too far for you to reach the straw. It might be too far, away from you to get it. And so just looking at those little nuances of care, I thought that was such a magnificent one because it's the thing that people overlook so much. So that was a very, very good thing. And I want to give a shout out to Arash, Jennifer, and Eric because they were on a panel with me and we were talking about, now I have paralysis, but life still goes on and there's still things that happen and, kind of how to plan for the future, how to have, somebody, if you're living alone with someone somewhere, in some way that you can get help, or if you don't show up at a certain place and all those kind of things. So there was just a lot of things. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, I met some nice people. This is a booklet about post-polio syndrome. And there's a post-polio foundation, which is in St. Louis, Missouri. But if you go to Post Polio Health International, you can get some of their materials because post-polio is a thing, we kind of think as polio's all over because, we've got the polio vaccine and we've got, all these different things and nobody really gets polio anymore. But people do. So the polio germ, the virus, is still out there. It's that we don't get it because we get vaccinated. So it's just kind of an interesting thing because people who had polio,
I can share this. I feel like I should share this.
And they got over it, so to speak, because maybe they had some muscle damage or some nerve damage, but other muscles and nerves took over. But as they age, that doesn't work so well anymore. Aging tends to make everything a little bit harder. You have paralysis or not, aging comes to us all, makes everything a little bit harder to do things. And so they had a lot of very helpful information. And anyway, it was just, there was just so many things. I could go on and on and on and talk about it, but we have more questions to listen to. So somebody wrote in about the latest technology to improve hand movement for C6 income. Medical and the video, and there are other things that are coming out with this. I call it a strip of tape. It has a formal name, but the formal name doesn't mean much to other people. It's like a medical name. It's like, oh yeah, it's another medical word. But I call it's like a piece of tape that goes just down and it goes on your skin. It doesn't go inside your body. It just tapes onto your back, and there's some electrodes in that piece of tape. It connects to the little device, and it gives you some power to be able to do some things. Now, a lot of people hear about this and they're like, "Oh, I want this right now." Other people are like, "Well, let's see how it goes." And that's fine wherever you are in your journey. But the important thing to remember is that some people go in thinking this will make me all better. It's not going to make you like you were before, but it will improve your function. It also helps with
Can't hear it through here though.
So like I said, one device might
Okay.
be better for you. There are differences in how the devices work. So, you just have to see. So that's one thing. And it can work for people with complete injuries, it can work for people with incomplete injuries. I think there is some parameter on how long you've been injured, but they're finding that that is not necessarily that maybe needs to be there. So don't be dissuaded if you think, "Oh, I'm injured for too long," because these devices are continuing to improve it. Much at any stage of your recovery. I know on some of them there is an age limit, but again, that's a scientific thing. It's not like, oh no, you're not going to recover if you're over age 75. You still could, but there has to be some parameters on the experimentation. So there has to be special studies for people of different ages. And in these studies, it's not just like, oh, let's put this on somebody and see. You have to get different types of people and different types of diseases and, put it on high or put it on low in your back. There's all different kinds of things. So all these things will be worked out. So don't be dissuaded. The most important thing is to maintain your health. Move your body, the part that's paralyzed. I say this all the time. And
Yeah.
before, when we did not have a lot of these devices out, things are coming out at a record pace now.
Yes.
Things are so moving so
Hell
fast,
yeah.
which is wonderful to see because, even 10 years ago, we'd see something on TV and, oh, it would be like, oh, wow, I think I would like to get this. And, well, we need to do more experimentation. Well, it's not released to the public. It would go on for years. But now stuff is happening.
Thank
Technology
you,
has
Trump.
improved. There are all these things that's happening. So it's really great that all this stuff is coming to fruition. A lot of bowel and bladder devices as well are coming out on the market. So lots of things to think about. But what else for the hands? So there's a thing if you've had this person's looking for their C6 spinal cord injury from trauma or disease. And that's fine. But you can also get, if you've had a stroke, you can get some of this equipment. There's a robotic hand that you can put on that helps with your arm that's affected. There's also nerve grafting and nerve transfer surgery, which has been around for quite a while before we had these external electrical stimulator devices. They would do, and they still do, a lot of grafting of nerves. So they might move a nerve over one place, or through my whole career, they've been doing different kinds of muscle movement and nerve transfers around to gain some function. So some people might choose to go that route. Now, would that preclude you from some of these devices? Maybe for a while, because they would have to test it and see how it would work, because now your nerves are in a different place. But would that eliminate you completely? Well, now I'm not the person who lets people in. I'm not the person who decides. But in my opinion, it shouldn't really matter eventually. It may matter right now because if they haven't
Oh my
on
God.
that population group,
We're gonna walk
you
again,
see,
homies.
it all takes time to build, but it's coming and it's coming very quickly.
So be sure and look up those companies and just kind of think about it. You don't have to act on this, but knowledge is power. So think about these kind of
What do
things.
we say here? Knowledge is power, baby.
So there's simple technology. If you're incomplete, maybe you just need a little splint with like a spring on it that will help. Uh-oh. Kelly, can you hear me? Oh, now we're
Yeah.
back. Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hear you.
Okay, thank you. It froze up for just a minute. So, okay, so I think we're good. Okay, oh, so somebody was asking about a new non-invasive spinal cord stimulator. I'd like your thoughts on whether you think it would be worth trying to get it. Well, my thoughts don't really matter. It's your thoughts that matter. If you think it would help you, you should definitely look into it. In the first place, you can see in the chat box, there's some links. So, that would be the first place where you can go and look at information. You can ask the people there
Okay, so
questions. You can type it in or you can call them or, contact them in any way. So if you think you might be interested in it, you don't have to look it up and decide I want it. You can look it up and think about it for a while. Maybe you'll see somebody who has one and you'll think, Now, there is a person at the foundation, and I was telling him at the summit, I said, I talk about you all the time, but I don't give your name. And he said, well, you could, but I still won't give his name. But he went into a clinical trial with the ARC-EX. Now, he has a different type of spinal cord injury. So everybody who has a different type of spinal cord injury is going to every individual is going to respond differently, because just as our faces are all different, our insides of our body are just different too. So anyway, he was in a six-week trial. I think, yes, it was a 6-week trial with the ARC-EX. Ever since I have known him, his hands has always been flat on a tray, and he had an attendant because he had no arm function whatsoever.
Now you can move.
And so I saw him a few years back, and he's like, hey, Linda, notice anything new about me? While he picked up a drink and drank from a cup. And I'm like, holy smokes, what did you do? And he said, I tried it. I was in the experimental group for 6 weeks. And then when it was over, I just never lost the function. Now that is unusual. That's extremely unusual. Usually you turn off the device, and after you get used to using it, it might have like an hour or more of a hangover after you turn off the device. You have to turn it off at night while you're sleeping, of course, and you can't use it you can't put it on and then be like, okay, I'm ready to go. You have to work up to tolerating it and all this stuff. But he just never lost his function. And I just love that story. I want that story to happen for everyone, but it's very, very rare. But I love that story. There's a person that wrote in here.
They're moving, dude. They're helping us move again.
A person who has a
incredible
spinal cord injury, and they're paralyzed. So he's still learning to adapt, accept, and learn. And so, there's a lot of things that are going on now. So it's not like a few years ago when, well, this is it. But while you're new and while you're first starting out, get all the information you can. When you leave the rehab facility, they usually give you a great big thick binder with the exercises you're supposed to do, information about catheterization, bowel programs, all this stuff. And you booklets of all this information, also from the Reeve Foundation, that are written for people who are at home that maybe have a few questions about, oh, I'm not sure about this. What did they say about that? They're written, they're not too simple, but they're written for the everyday person to read the information and to clearly understand it. So they're very, very functional information booklets. And of course, the educational information from the Reeve Foundation, it's all free, it's online. Just be sure and get it, look it over. There's a lot of information. And so that would be a good place to start on how to deal with that. Here's a person whose son has SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, and they've been in a wheelchair. He'd like to use a standard to be vertical for a short period of time each day. We understand that there are numerous benefits from getting vertical. Yes, there is numerous benefits. First of all, you're standing up, so your lungs can inflate much easier. Second thing is your bone density. People who have paralysis lose their bone
Yep.
density pretty quickly. So before you even stand in that, you have to have a bone density test to make sure that your bones can hold your. But I think one of the most biggest benefits is seeing yourself standing up.
Yes.
I've been with a lot of people when they've accomplished getting in a full stand in the standing frame, you have to work up to it because your heart has to learn to compensate for being upright. Because when you're upright standing, it has to work the hardest to get the blood against gravity up to your brain. Very important thing. That's why people tend to get up too
Lightheaded.
fast. Sometimes they get dizzy.
Yeah.
Same thing with a standing frame. You might have to wear elastic hose. You need to be checked to see if you have blood clots in your lower body, because when you're re-stretching those legs out, that can dislodge a blood clot that you never knew was there. So that is those are the two big things. Standing, if your bones aren't dense, because they'll just collapse.
Mhm.
And if you have osteoporosis, your bones just, they get little holes in the bones, and then the holes get bigger and bigger. And so your bones don't have the power to hold your body upright. But I've been with a lot of people who stood up with a standing frame, and the first time they stand, it's a very emotional thing for the person, and it's a very emotional thing for their family and their caregivers, because maybe they haven't seen their person standing for such a long time. And people say, "Oh, I forgot how tall you were." It's just really, it's very moving.
Oh,
So it helps your mental being as well.
Linda, we love
So
Linda.
I think that is the big
dude.
plus. But the physical body functions are a great plus as
Dude,
well.
she's gonna make me cry.
Sometimes you can get them that are like have those gliders, like a ski thing, and it will help exercise your legs. Sometimes you can get them with wheels on. They have a little tray in the front of them, and they have wheels on the front, so you can like wheel around the house. Or if you use one in business setting, you can wheel around the office, or maybe at school. You only have to be in them about an hour a day. So you not usually in them like all day long standing. So, but just so you know, but it's really a big deal. Um, let's see, those two questions we answered last month. Oh, here's a person that's going in for surgery, and they're worried about potential problems such as autonomic dysreflexia. Be sure and get the wallet card from the Reeve Foundation. You can just type in Reeve Foundation wallet card AD, and it will pop right up. It's a tri-fold card. When it's folded up, it's the size of a dollar bill. That's why we call it a wallet card, because it can fit in your wallet. Always have that with you if you've had AD, if you're under medication for AD, or if you think you might have it, like in an experience like this. Always have
Hi,
that wallet card.
Panda.
They're free. You can print them off your own computer. You can get them printed from the organization, but
You
print
just
them
made
off
my
on your own
day.
computer and just hand them out like for AD. There's one for DVT.
I have
and
a
there's one
bunch
for
of
sepsis.
stuff from the
Now, with the
Christopher Reeves
recent
Foundation
tragedy
too. So if anybody
that we've
needs
had
anything, just let me know.
with a very popular individual that recently died, that came out that it was sepsis. And
Oh,
if you can
man.
get sepsis because you have some kind of an infection, you
I
might think
have
it's
issues
over.
with bladder.
It might be still going on, but the body loses control over the infection, and
I
it
was
spreads
sick.
through your body, going to your major organs.
Fuck.
There's one for sepsis. If you be sure and have that wallet card with you, because you could have a urinary tract infection.
I'm
You
gonna get
take the
that.
antibiotics. Oh, I'm feeling better now. You could have a skin infection that maybe you didn't.
I'm gonna get that because it's like I have bladder infection so bad, and I can't seem to get rid of this one because they didn't send me my catheters and stuff they made me wait like over, I think it was 2 months. Luckily I had like a month of backup, but yeah, so I still am like trying to get rid of it. I think that's another reason why my spasms are kind of bad. Here, let's listen back in. Hold on.
Septic shock, you have 1 hour to treat it. They call it the golden hour. So it's a good thing to say if you go to the emergency room, I think I might have sepsis. Cards. It talks about the
It makes me want
symptoms.
to cry. It's like really
It talks
scary.
about what to do about it, gives information for the healthcare provider and the research behind it. So, it's not like an obnoxious way of saying me for sepsis, because that's what I have. They like to make the diagnosis. But
Yeah,
and that's
definitely
their job,
don't tell
and
a
they
doctor
should.
what to do.
But it's an important thing to have. And anybody who walks into that room, the doctor, the nurse, the person taking your intake, I think I might have sepsis, because that puts that hierarchy top down a little lower. Well, maybe we better think about this. So it's an important kind of thing. Now, there's been a national push and worldwide push to recognize sepsis earlier, and it's really getting to be
I'm
a
worried right
problem
now
that
for
I hope
myself.
that will go away. But here again,
I
if you
am.
just
I've been
had
eating
that
antibiotics every day for like over a
national
month.
figure who
I've got to get
suffered
home and get
sepsis
like
and died, and you can see people who
back
have even the best
to
of
the
medical
doctor and
care,
get to.
sometimes it gets overlooked, or maybe it wasn't recognized fast. I have no
There's so many ways you can get
judgment
it.
on the situation. People do what they need to do when they need to do it, and we'll leave it at that. But it's an unfortunate situation, and it happens to a lot of people. And there's a lot of sepsis out there, so you need to really think about that kind of thing. Bleeding during the operation, well, when you're going in for the surgery, they'll be monitoring that. And then after catheter removal and sitting, they'll give you all the parameters for that. But talk to them ahead of time, because if you have paralysis, you need to know things ahead of time so you can plan differently.
You do.
You might need more catheters. You might
Mhm.
need to know, okay, I'll have an indwelling catheter. When can I
Running out of
start doing
catheters is a
intermittent
death.
catheterization? Your needs are a little different. So feel
Even
free
just
to talk
learning
to
how
your
to
healthcare
take care of your
professional to
indwelling
work out
catheter,
all
because they
these
didn't
different
teach me how to
things
do that.
before you
Mine
go.
backed up a couple
Something
times. It
I
was
always
really
like to
bad.
tell people too is talk to the surgeon that's going to be doing this about the cushion that's on the operating room table. All operating room tables are cushioned, because the cushion on the everybody's there when you're having surgery. You're basically your whole body's paralyzed, because you're under anesthesia, and good thing, because you don't want to be awake for that. So ask about getting a special cushion for you, because you might be on that table 3 or 4 hours. They might move you then onto a stretcher where you might be in the
Yeah.
recovery room for 3 or 4 hours. And there are special operating room cushions, dispersing cushions.
Yeah. So when I was in the hospital, they had me on one of them. It was like there's like air that like runs in it. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of annoying. I didn't really like it. It wasn't comfortable. I made them change it, but yeah, they have that. So yeah, definitely ask for special accommodations. Always ask ahead, no matter where you're going, a hotel, the hospital, blah, blah. Like if you can, always prepare ahead.
You'll be admitted to the hospital after the surgery, if you're going to be admitted, to be sure that equipment is ready for you when you come, and not ordered after you get there. I know we have to wait for the supplier to bring it in the next 4 hours.
Yeah.
So be sure and talk to everybody so you have everything all lined up. And your healthcare professional should be able to work this out for you. But sometimes it's just good to call and double check. Oh, this is kind of a curious question. I like it. I love these really curious ones. The latest innovations for shoulder joint pain, bladder pain, bowel issues, wound issues, back pain that permeates through your body and the pain never ceases. Does red light therapy really work?
Oh, this is a good one. Red light
the pain
therapy.
that you're having after paralysis is generally, and this pain that goes through the whole body is generally neuropathic pain. There are like 6 or 8 different types of pain.
Yeah,
And
I've heard of this too.
some
I
is
just started
muscular
hearing about the
pain, like
levels
if
of
you've
pain.
overstretched your muscle, that's a different kind of pain. The neuropathic pain is pain from the nerves, and it's miscommunication of the nerves. So I don't really have any thoughts about red light therapy, although I will admit I did it to my knee. I was having some knee pain, but that was a muscular problem,
Right,
and it
not
did
a
work that.
nerve.
So does it work? Well, in my
It has to
case,
be really
of
deep.
one person, it worked. But will it work for neuropathic pain? I wouldn't think so. And I don't know how you would have red light therapy to your whole body, but I bet there's somebody out there trying to invent that. So we'll have to stay tuned to see how that turns out. But there's a lot that you can do for neuropathic pain. And we have a book about pain and pain control, and it outlines
I'm gonna get
all
that
of
book.
these
We're gonna go over
things.
that.
And so it starts out with things like distraction and doing different kinds of movement. Sometimes if you move very gently, if you move very quickly, you're gonna trigger more pain. But if you move very slowly and very gently, sometimes stretching out your muscles will help
That's
that
what I do in the
neuropathic pain
morning.
because the muscle
That's what I do in the morning. I make sure that I like stretch myself out really good, and I've been realizing that I think I just really need to get my body stretched out. Like, I think that's why my spasms start getting bad, among other things. But I really want to start going to physical therapy and just be like, look, we just need to focus on stretching this body out. Like, and then I need to do like a block time of like yoga. I stretch, but I need to do like a focused like yoga with meditation style.
if you haven't been exercising and your hand is contracted and it's like this, and now you want one
So
of
it's
the
happening to my
stimulators on
ankles.
your spine, it's not the stimulation's not going to be able to stretch a contracted muscle. The muscle's too
Yeah,
short, so
it's
it's
like they
not going to
said
stretch
here.
out again. So you have to keep your body healthy, free from infection as
Sure.
best as you
Make
can,
sure if you
and
want
all
anything,
that,
reach out.
moving your body, doing as much with your body as you can, eating healthy, drinking healthy, stop smoking, stop vaping, anything you put into your lungs, except your asthma medication, or if you take a bronchodilator, if it's something medically prescribed, but don't put anything inhalant into your lungs because that's going to harm your lungs. So, just try to keep your health self as healthy as possible. Try to
We
keep
have to live
your
to our old guys in these
mentation
chairs.
good.
So yeah.
Now, everybody gets sad. Some people get so sad that they enter into depression. If you're feeling sad all the time or you think you might be depressed,
Talk to
this
somebody.
is not because of something that's wrong in you. It's a chemical imbalance in your brain. And just
This
like you
lady's
want to
dope.
treat a toothache, you want to treat depression so that you can get back on a good track. And it comes and goes, things come and go. But so
We're
getting
grieving,
your
right?
pain is
Like,
very important. There are medications that will take care of pain. There's implants that will take care of
right?
pain. Sometimes
Yeah,
people,
they're super
if they have a
cool.
lot of pain, like in their legs, get Botox injections that relax the muscles a little bit, that then create less stimulation in the nerves. So Botox can be used for pain. So there's a whole gamut, and it's all outlined in this book in a hierarchy from the simplest things all the way up. So there you go with that. We talked about contractures in feet and ankle, and so doing that range of motion is gonna keep yourself pliable. I use my hand because you can see my hand, but you need to do it
I
to your
know.
toes. You need to do it to every joint in your body, especially
Yes.
those that don't move.
So I'll take my feet and just like move them and just like move everything like any chance I think about it, or if my legs start to kick or I start getting really bad spasms, then I'm like, oh yeah, I need to like move my body because normally you're moving around, right? now we're not moving around. And I just like, I used to just try and stay stationary, and now I do, I do better. So we got to go grab kiddos from school.
It will treat you if you have osteoporosis. If you go and you think, I've been going to this for 5 years and I don't have any osteoporosis, I'm not going to go anymore. Well, maybe in year 6 you will have it. It's just something that, you just have to make a part of your life. It's very important. Somebody who's had a pressure injury, and it's an old wound that they've had for a long time, but it's opened up again. Because when you have scar tissue, when you heal the wound, scar tissue is formed, and scar tissue does not stretch like your natural skin. So again, I'm going to use my wrist, and you see my skin here over my knuckles, over the bone. I can pinch it all the way up, and it pinches pretty well. But when I bend my hand, look at how white my knuckles are because it's stretched over that knuckle. Your skin's very elastic. Scars are not so much elastic. So usually if you have surgery on a pressure wound, they'll try to make the scar not over the bony prominence. They'll try rotate some muscles around and then they'll make the scar. But you don't want the wound to get to the surgical part because once you've had surgery, you're on that wound, you're more at risk of having another wound.
I know my scar's like this big on my back.
And so
It's
on
crazy.
it goes. But is there anything you can do with that? He had to have surgery. And is there anything that would help toughen the scar up? There is a thing called scar tape. Now, you don't want to put it on. You might not want to put it on your wound because tape is not elastic, and scar tape is not elastic. So you're putting more non-elasticity on the area. But talk to your doctor. You might be able to use the scar tape like when you're in bed and not laying on that side. That might be something. There's also something called scar cream. And you can get scar cream at the drugstore, at the Walmart, any place that has that pharmaceutical drug area. They usually have scar cream, and you can put that on, and that tends to soften the scar. So maybe it doesn't make it elastic, but it makes it not quite so. So
Nice.
that might be help. But talk to your doctor first before you do anything. That's always very important. There may be some reason he has it. You should not use any of this. But these are sometimes people do. But those are a couple of things to do. How to make spasms work for you? I also like this question because my husband did this, and he has a lot of spasticity in his legs. If he had his spasticity completely treated, he wouldn't be able to stand. He could walk with a walker for most of his life, but at the end, he had spinal cord injury from disease. So his disease had progressed, and then he couldn't stand and walk. But he found a happy little balance where he took medication that helped control the pain, helped control the spasms, but didn't eliminate the spasms entirely. So when he would stand up, and he could walk with a walker a lot longer than he could have if he had treated the spasms, because the spasms, if you need it, you can pretty much eliminate your spasms with medication, or you can work to find this happy little balance where he still had some spasticity. So when he stood up, it was like, boom, I'm up now, and the spasms would trigger.
That's how mine are. It's like when I go
and that would help him walk
straight,
for a long time.
They want to be like.
So that's how you make them work for you. But if it's so bad that you can't stand it, you need to take the medication. Sometimes
nothing will help
spasms, and they're really more just like, they're not very bad. They're just really mild. It doesn't bother them, and so they just choose not to treat it. Sometimes people have spasms that are just so horrible that it knocks them out of their chair. Well, that's really dangerous, and you can break things, and all kinds of things can happen.
Right now.
So there, you have to work with your healthcare professional and find that happy little medium. We also have a book about spasticity, pain, and one about spasticity, and that all goes through the hierarchy. So there's a lot of things you can do, like
I'll be there.
some people will do feedback to learn to control their pain or spasticity. Some people will do distraction and other kinds of things. Some people will use um, different temperatures on their skins. You want to be very careful with that, because if you put on too hot or too cold, you
Mhm.
won't feel it when it burns you or
Mhm.
gives you frostbite. So you have to be very careful with that. But all that is outlined in the book of all these different kinds of things. Some people use psychotherapy. Some people, there's all different kinds of things that are non-medical and non-medication that you can do to help your spasms. If they get too bad, you just have to go with the medication. Or there's an implant that you can put as a little, looks like a cardiac pacemaker. It's about that big. They put it in the abdomen and a tube runs around your back, and they bathe your lower spinal cord in baclofen, or they can do baclofen and pain
I know, but the
medication if you
pumps
have
are fucking
spasticity and
wicked,
pain.
dude. Maybe
And
they got them smaller,
the
but like I don't want that shit
medication is
implanted
heavier
into my back. It
spinal
makes me feel
fluid,
like I want to
so
throw
it
up,
stays in the
honestly.
lower spine and it relaxes and takes care of that pain. That is, you don't have to have medication that goes out throughout your whole body. Sometimes people complain about they feel kind of dull in the head because when you take oral medication, it works throughout your whole body. It just
That's
doesn't
why
go
I
to
have
the
a pain patch. I don't take a pain
your whole
pill, and
body.
then I don't have to be popping
So
pills all the time. Yeah,
those are
either. I don't
some
like
different
that.
things
I
that you
just
can
slap a
do.
patch on once a week, and then I don't have to die.
This is a question that I have an answer to, which is yes. Does anyone else who is quadriplegic have difficulty getting comfortable in their wheelchair, even though it's a new power chair that costs $30,000?
No, I
Yes.
hate getting comfortable in my
Yes.
chair.
Whenever you get anything new,
Ugh,
it's
I
kind of
hate
hard to
it.
adjust to it.
I hate
And
it. It was the
sometimes you have
same
to work
chair.
with things, especially equipment, for a while and see how it goes. I'll
Mm-mm.
use a simple example. So a new desk chair. And it has a lot of gizmo, adjust the back, adjust the seat, make it higher,
Yeah,
make it
now
lower.
try a
It does
wheelchair.
all
You have to
these
sit in
different, the
all day
armrests
and you
go up
can't
and
get
down.
out of it.
And it has all these gizmos. And so I adjusted it and I thought, oh yeah, this feels great. This feels great. So I was working in it. After about 15 minutes, I'm like, this doesn't feel great. Now you might not have those sensations, but you'll know through other ways in your body that, I'm uncomfortable. Something's not right. Your brain will tell you something's not right. And so you have to just do a different things. So for a few years, I had this desk chair adjusted just the way I just got it perfect. Just perfect. I was thrilled. Took me several months. And new things are more stiff than things that have been used for a while, but this was just perfect. So I thought this is great. So I used it for several years. And then one day I came in and I happened to knock my knee up against the lever that makes it go up and down, and it dropped right down. No, I don't remember exactly how high to go. But anyway, I was busy, so I thought, okay, I'll just sit lower. And I found out, oh my gosh, this is so much better. And so I thought, oh, I like being up high because it was easier to get in and out. And it just, it felt right to me. But then I made a mistake and I'm like, oh, this is better. So you have to work with these things. If you're having problems with your wheelchair, and yes, they are expensive, but if you're having, because there's so much individualization that has to go on them. But if you're having problems with them, you can still talk to somebody years later and say, I'm having this problem, or, maybe this happened, and you can go in and have them adjusted wherever you got it. If you're working with a therapist, they can sometimes adjust them. Be sure that your pressure dispersing equipment is still adequate for your body. Sometimes you get a new chair and the cushion that you had it that you sit on or on your back or on your armrest.
We lost her.
Oh, looks like Linda might have frozen. So if everybody can just kind of hang tight, I'm sure she will rejoin us once she is able to do so.
I'm gonna
Thank
call
you.
it here because I have to I have to take off. So we are going to call it an end right here. That was a really, really dope meeting to be a part of. So I'm stoked that I caught that and we got to pop on that. That's super cool. We'll do more of those definitely because that was very informational. Oop. Hold on. I'm gonna. Okay. So I am super excited that we are getting more stable. It looks like Wednesdays are probably going to be a long day. So I will plan on going live for the longer part of the day. I will have more time here in a couple weeks too. So it'll be great. I'm like super excited to keep growing with this. Excuse my messy background. All these things we will be getting better at, but the most important part is that we're showing up, we're sharing resources, we're learning new things. I know I just learned a bunch of stuff today. So yeah, thank you for joining me. I'm going to add Instagram so we can go live. I'm just learning StreamYard. So I'm super excited to keep streaming here. Thank you to Panda the Torture Clown for stopping by my live. I just love him. If you haven't seen him, I came across him recently on YouTube. I was having a bad day and I needed that. Like, he's so cool. I love his balloon stuff and he's a sideshow guy, which I love sideshow stuff. It's cool to see that the culture isn't dying. I'm in the tattoo and piercing industry, obviously, and it's very, very close tied. So if you haven't seen him, he does lives all the time and he's super fucking cool to watch. I love his background and everything, and he just makes my day every time. So I really appreciate the support from him and the support from you. Thank you, my No Pants crew. Make sure I will be live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And obviously we're going to be going into the afternoon. It might be a long day on Wednesdays. So I'm really excited to keep the streams going. I will see you on Sunday for Setting Intention Sunday. And again, thank you for stopping by. Like, subscribe, comment. If there's something that you would like me to research next week, let's do it. That's what this is all about, is so we can find more things to make our lives easier and to grow our community and strengthen our ability to be independent and to be the best people that we can be out of our wheelchairs, right? So I hope you have a really good day and I will catch you on the next live.